Let me tell you something that will change how you see the world forever. 5 centuries ago, a man named Niccolo Machiavelli wrote down truths so dangerous that they got him exiled, so powerful that they shaped empires, and so brutally honest that even today people refuse to accept them. Here's the first truth you must understand. Everything you've been taught about being good, kind, and fair is exactly what's keeping you weak, poor, and controlled. The Machiavellian reality is this: the world doesn't reward virtue, it rewards strength. It doesn't honor good intentions, it obeys ruthless execution. While you're busy trying to be liked, someone else is busy taking what you wanted. While you worry about being fair, someone else is rewriting the rules in their favor. This isn't philosophy. This isn't theory. This is how power actually works in the real world, and if you don't understand these Machiavellian principles, you will spend your entire life being used by those who do. What follows are 7 brutal lessons that will tear away your illusions and show you the true nature of power. Study them carefully, because ignorance of these rules has destroyed better men than you. 1. The fatal weakness of trust in a world of betrayal. The greatest lie ever told is that trust is virtue. Machiavelli saw through this deception with perfect clarity when he wrote, "Men are so simple and so much inclined to obey immediate needs that a deceiver will never lack victims for his deceptions." Every good person carries within them this fatal flaw. They project their own honesty onto others, believing that because they wouldn't betray, others won't either. This is why good people are constantly shocked when partners cheat, friends steal, and allies turn against them. The Machiavellian knows better. He understands that trust is not a moral principle, but a strategic calculation. Every relationship, every alliance, every handshake is evaluated through one ruthless question. Until when does this serve their interests? The moment your usefulness ends, so does their loyalty. Look at history's greatest betrayals. Caesar and Brutus, business partners who became enemies, nations that broke treaties the moment it suited them. The pattern never changes, because human nature never changes. The Machiavellian solution is not paranoia, but precision. You must become a master at reading interests rather than intentions. You must create situations where betrayal doesn't benefit the other party. You must always maintain the power to punish disloyalty, so severely that no one dares cross you. Never give someone the opportunity and motive to betray you simultaneously. Control the environment so completely that even if they want to stab you in the back, they find the knife is in your hand, not theirs. 2. This is how empires are built and how they're maintained in critical moments. There exists in every person's life a series of decisive moments where the choice between kindness and ruthlessness determines their entire future. Good people consistently choose wrong because they fail to understand one fundamental Machiavellian truth. It is much safer to be feared than loved. This isn't about cruelty for its own sake. That's the mistake of petty tyrants. This is about recognizing those critical junctures where mercy becomes weakness, where compassion becomes suicide. When a general hesitates to execute traitors, he invites more rebellion. When a CEO refuses to fire incompetent executives, the entire company suffers. When a leader shows vulnerability instead of strength, he invites challenge. Machiavelli observed this in his study of Cesare Borgia, who solidified his power not through kindness, but through calculated displays of terrifying force. The lesson is clear. There are moments when a single act of ruthless decisiveness prevents 100 future problems. Good people agonize over these decisions, worrying about being perceived as cruel, when in reality, their hesitation creates far greater suffering in the long run. The Machiavellian measures his actions not by how they feel in the moment, but by what future they create. He understands that, sometimes, the most merciful act is complete destruction of an enemy, because it prevents prolonged conflict. Sometimes, the kindest thing you can do is make an example of one person so that 100 others learn the lesson without needing to experience it. This is the cold calculus of power that good people refuse to acknowledge, and it's why they constantly find themselves overtaken by those willing to make hard decisions without flinching. 3. The delusion of fairness in an unjust world. Good people cling to fairness like a drowning man clings to driftwood, not realizing it's what's pulling them under. They believe that if they play by the rules, work hard, and act justly, the system will reward them. This is perhaps the most dangerous illusion of all, and Machiavelli shattered it completely when he wrote, "The vulgar crowd always is taken by appearances, and the world consists chiefly of the vulgar." The entire concept of fairness was invented by those in power to keep challengers playing a game they can't win. Look at any system, political, financial, social, and you'll find the rules were written by winners to protect their position. Taxes that crush small businesses but can be avoided by corporations. Laws that punish minor crimes severely while white-collar criminals walk free. Social norms that demand humility from newcomers while celebrating arrogance in the established. The Machiavellian doesn't waste energy complaining about unfairness. He studies the system to exploit its weaknesses. He understands that true fairness is an illusion maintained to control the masses. Real power comes from recognizing when to operate within systems and when to create your own. The game is always rigged, but while good people demand it be made fair, the powerful simply learn to rig it in their favor. This is why the naive remain frustrated their entire lives, wondering why doing everything right leads nowhere, while those who understand the Machiavellian principles advance regardless of circumstances. The choice is simple. Continue believing in fairy tales about meritocracy, or open your eyes to how power actually accumulates in the real world. 4. The strategic value of controlled conflict. Good people have been conditioned from birth to avoid conflict at all costs, to seek harmony, to just get along. This conditioning is precisely what keeps them weak and controllable. Machiavelli revealed the truth when he wrote, "War is just when it is necessary, and arms are permissible when there is no hope except in arms." The Machiavellian understands that conflict isn't something to avoid. It's a tool to be wielded with precision. There are conflicts that should be sought, battles that should be picked, fights that must be started at exactly the right moment. The difference between the powerful and the powerless is that the powerful choose their conflicts rather than having them forced upon them. Look at nature. Predators don't attack randomly. They select targets carefully, based on strategic value. The business world operates on identical principles. Corporate takeovers, political campaigns, even social dynamics all follow this rule. Those who initiate conflict from positions of strength win, while those who constantly defend lose. Good people wait until they're attacked before responding, which means they're always on the defensive, always reacting rather than acting. The Machiavellian creates conflicts on his terms, forcing others to respond to him. This isn't about being needlessly aggressive. That's the mark of an amateur. This is about recognizing that controlled, strategic conflict is how territory is taken, how power is consolidated, how resistance is crushed before it can organize. The chess master doesn't avoid confrontation. He forces exchanges that benefit him. The general doesn't shy from battle. He picks the time and place that gives him maximum advantage. Your life is no different. The question isn't whether there will be conflict. The question is whether you'll be the one controlling it. 5. The power of calculated deception in perception management. While good people obsess over truth, the powerful understand a more profound Machiavellian principle. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. This isn't an endorsement of pointless lying. That's the mistake of small minds. This is about the strategic management of perception, the deliberate crafting of appearances to serve your goals. The world doesn't respond to reality. It responds to its perception of reality. Your boss doesn't promote you based on your actual work ethic, but based on what he believes about your work ethic. Customers don't buy based on a product's true value, but based on their perception of its value. The masses don't follow leaders based on their actual competence, but based on their appearance of competence. Good people believe that if they just keep their head down and do good work, they'll be recognized. This is childish thinking. The Machiavellian knows that perception must be actively shaped, narratives must be deliberately controlled, appearances must be carefully constructed. This is why politicians hire image consultants, why corporations spend billions on branding, why successful people cultivate certain reputations. They understand that in the battle for power, perception is reality. The naive believe this is dishonest. The powerful understand it's essential. This doesn't mean being fake. It means being strategic about what aspects of yourself you emphasize and when. It means understanding that sometimes the truth must be revealed gradually. Sometimes certain facts must be highlighted while others are downplayed. Sometimes silence is more powerful than speech. While good people worry about being completely transparent at all times, the Machiavellian recognizes that total transparency is total vulnerability. The art of perception management isn't about deception for its own sake. It's about controlling the narrative before others control it for you. 6. The critical importance of timing in decisive action. Good people consistently fail to understand one of the most crucial Machiavellian principles: the supreme importance of timing in all exercises of power. Machiavelli observed that fortune is the arbiter of half our actions, but she still leaves the other half, or almost, to be governed by us. This is the delicate balance between preparation and action that so many miss. Good people tend to fall into two traps. Either they act too early, without proper preparation, or they prepare endlessly, but never act at all. The Machiavellian cultivates the patience to wait for the perfect moment, combined with the ruthlessness to strike without hesitation when it arrives. History's greatest power plays all share this characteristic. They happened at precisely the right moment, not a second too soon or too late. Julius Caesar crossed the Rubicon at the exact political moment when Rome was vulnerable. Business titans make their moves when markets are primed for disruption. Revolutionaries strike when regimes are at their weakest. The common thread is impeccable timing. Good people wait for permission, for certainty, for guarantees, all of which never come. The Machiavellian understands that perfect certainty is impossible, but perfect timing is everything. He develops the instinct to feel when the tide is turning, the discipline to wait through periods of inaction, and the courage to move decisively when opportunity knocks. This is why some leaders seem to have supernatural luck. They've simply mastered the art of timing. While others are still debating whether to act, the Machiavellian has already seized the moment and made it his own. In your own life, recognize that preparation without action is meaningless, but action without timing is suicidal. Develop the ability to read situations, to sense shifts before they happen, and to move with precision when the moment is right. Now you stand at the crossroads, with full awareness of how power truly operates. The question remains, what will you do with this knowledge? Will you dismiss it as cynical, retreating back into comfortable illusions while others dominate the world around you? Or will you accept these truths not as bitter pills, but as liberating revelations? Machiavelli didn't write his works to create villains. He wrote them to create realists who could navigate the world as it actually is, not as we wish it were. The principles laid before you aren't about becoming evil. They're about becoming effective. They're about recognizing that power follows certain immutable rules, whether you acknowledge them or not. The difference between those who rise and those who remain trapped isn't morality, it's understanding. You now possess that understanding. What you do with it will determine everything. Will you continue being the pawn, or will you learn to play the game? The choice as always is yours. But remember, in the arena of power, indecision is itself a decision, and it's usually the one that leads to defeat. The Machiavellian path isn't for everyone, but for those with the courage to see the world clearly and the will to act accordingly. It's the only path that leads to true power. The rest is just commentary.